This live presentation was produced in Ashland, Oregon by the Rogue Valley Metaphysical Library and Event Center. RVML relies on the support of our volunteers, members, and donors to organize and present these programs. For more information about this presentation, or to borrow, download, or purchase other recordings from our catalog, please visit our website at rvml.org.
It's an honor to be here at the Metaphysical Library. I've been to so many presentations here myself that to be up on the other end is a real honor. I'm here tonight to present the technique called EFT, which stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. EFT was started in the mid-90s or so by a man named Gary Craig, but I thought it might be valuable to give you some of the root beginnings of tapping techniques, since many of you may not know that. How many people here have heard of EFT? Okay, so many of you. And how many have actually experienced EFT? Okay. The tapping technique was first kind of popularized by a man named Roger Callahan, who is a psychologist. And he was finding that he had a very difficult time getting success with things like phobias in his practice. He had basically lower than a 5% success rate with phobias and related type issues. And Dr. Callahan started studying some meridian information over the years. And I'm not exactly sure how he came upon the form of tapping, but the way that the tapping kind of got started with him was one of these spontaneous moments that I love the story and I like sharing it. He was working with a client who basically he had 0 success rate. This was a woman with a lifelong water phobia. She was very severely affected. She couldn't take a bath in more than an inch of water without having severe reactions. She could not drive over a bridge without having a panic attack. And he was basically not getting anywhere with standard techniques, systematic desensitization, things like that. And he found that, one day he was working with this client out by his swimming pool. And sure enough, as they're approaching the pool, she started getting panicky. And spontaneously, he told her, try tapping this point. And she did. And he said, try tapping another point. And I think there were probably a total of 3 or 4 points. And all of a sudden, he noticed her face changed, her breathing changed, her whole energy was different. And she looked at him, she said, it's gone. And he got a little nervous. He said, what? He said, it's gone. And she started running toward the swimming pool. And he got very nervous because he knew she didn't swim. And she turned around and said, don't worry, it's okay, I know I don't swim. And she started splashing water on her face, which was a total breakthrough. And basically, that was it. She never had a recurrence, and this was in the early 80s. So needless to say, this got Dr. Callahan's attention, and he started focusing his study on the tapping points, which he did very intensively over a period of years. And what he did was he evolved a series of what he called algorithms. And these algorithms were a series of points in specific sequence which were specified to an individual issue. So in other words, if you had anxiety, you might tap this point and then something down here in your shoulder. And then if you had a knee pain, you might tap here, here, and here, and here, and there. So each individual issue would have its own algorithm, according to Dr. Callahan. And the nice part was that he was having fabulous results for pretty much issues across the board. Not only emotional issues, but physiological ones as well. He was even doing radio shows where people would call in with specific issues and having 80 to 85% success rate on the radio. So, after some period of time, one of his students, Gary Craig, who was also getting wonderful results with Dr. Callahan's techniques, decided that there should be a simpler way to do it. Rather than have these 200 things to study and have a manual for, there must be a set of points that works for everything. And that's what Gary Craig set out to do and accomplished. So essentially, I ran these points by a friend of mine who's a very high-level acupuncturist and asked him, what are these points? And he said, these are master points. These are very powerful points. I never quite understood the idea of tapping as opposed to acupuncture or acupressure. I've done acupressure as a massage therapist for 30 years. I always found it very effective. And having had acupuncture treatments, I always found them very effective. But I never quite understood the principle of the tapping until I was working with a friend of mine who's very energy sensitive. And as we're doing the tapping and he's tapping on a certain point, he says, oh, Jerem, I noticed that it's vibrating the meridian and it's sending the energy right into this point over here. I never had a graphic readout like that, but the idea that it was vibrating the meridian made a lot of sense to me, because in my studies of energy medicine, it all boils down to frequencies and vibrations. So when we're vibrating the meridian, we're sending energy through in a way that may be even more effective than some other methods in any given moment. I don't discount any of the other methods because I've experienced them and find them very, very helpful and beneficial. So I'm just wondering, for those of you who have had some EFT experience, would anyone like to share what their experience was with EFT? We have a microphone if you do. And if you don't, it's okay too. Okay. Yes?
Not from my experience, but someone who I know who's been doing it,
Mm-hmm.
that I really noticed a very, very significant change. And I didn't know what it was.
Okay.
It's like an authenticity.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, we want to get the mic over to you, okay? Yeah. Sure. Would you be okay coming up to share? Sorry. I don't want to put you on the spot here. Okay.
I just did yoga. I'm going to sit down. I just noticed that in someone that I know personally, that there was a big shift in her personality.
Uh-huh.
And for me, there was just a presence and authenticity that was there. And so I didn't know, I just kind of noticed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did a healing session together, and that was one of the things that she did with me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the thing that she said that really shifted her. And I noticed it. I mean, it was very pronounced for me.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? All right, thanks. Oh, yeah? Okay, great.
Both Jenny and I have used EFT very successfully on quickly healing headaches. Usually maybe 2 sessions. And then after 10 minutes or so, you realize your headache isn't there anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. Anyone else? All right. Thanks. Okay, so when I first heard about EFT, we were invited by a dear friend who was teaching the technique, and my wife and I basically took 3 invitations to get there. Just skepticism and schedules and things like that. And when we finally got there, we were quite impressed with just the the gentleness of it and the effectiveness of it. One of the things I love about EFT is the energy behind it. And Dr. Callahan was doing trainings, and I heard this story from Gary Craig. Gary Craig paid, I think he said $100,000 to be trained in the TFT, which is Dr. Callahan's technique. And he just felt that because this technique is so powerful and so beneficial for people, that he would like to make it more available, make it so that people could afford it. So in streamlining the technique, he was able to do that, where instead of paying $100,000, you pay about a little over $100 to get a training that will have you walking out the door and being able to use the technique effectively. Okay. So, most of you have experienced energy medicine in some way, shape, or form, correct? Anybody hasn't? Okay, good. We're in Ashland.
Okay, I don't think I know what energy medicine is.
Okay. Energy medicine, I don't know if I can give an exact definition, but in energy medicine, we say that when we're able to move energy, which can take a lot of different forms, that things get better. And so in EFT, the main thing that we're focusing on is relieving any disruption in the energy system. I'll come back to that in a moment. But a couple of the examples I like to use in terms of how energy works in the body, how the emotions connect with the physicality, which is essentially the focus of EFT. I studied hypnosis years ago, and the teacher had a story that always stuck in my memory of a man who was under hypnosis and was told that he was going to be burned with a lit cigarette on his hand. So instead of a lit cigarette, they had the eraser end of a pencil, which they touched to his hand. And after they touched his hand, a welt formed on his hand. So that got my attention in terms of, okay, the mind does influence the body. Okay. Another example from my own experience is that I had a recurring problem which happened every time I went on vacation. My back would go out. My lower back would start hurting like crazy. Every single time I went on vacation for years, I just was beside myself. It was very disheartening. And I was having a counseling session one day and just doing a little detective work, and I realized that when I was a kid, my parents never went on vacation. So essentially, the internal default setting that I had in my energy system was, it's not a good idea to go on vacation because it costs a lot of money and you could be home making money, so don't do it. So that definitely got some light bulbs going off in my head. And the next time I was going on vacation, I had forgotten it. This was a few months later. And I was out jogging that morning. And as I'm jogging, my back goes out. My back starts going out. And I went, oh, here it is again. I don't have to go with this. This isn't the truth. And I just kept jogging a little more gently for about a minute and a half. Gone. Never came back. So in terms of the mind-body connection, that kind of got my attention as well. And then the other example I like to use, because it's a very striking example to me, some of you probably know Bernie Siegel's work, Love, Medicine, and Miracles. And one of the stories in his book really impacted me. It was a woman who was in basically stage 4 cancer, only given, I think, a week to live or 2 weeks. And Bernie Siegel was in speaking with her and said to her, well, you need to get your affairs in order, and is there anything that you need to clear up with anyone? And she said, yeah, I'm furious at my husband for all these things. And she said, well, he said to her, well, you don't have much time, maybe it'd be good to speak with him. She said, okay, she did. She went into remission. That was it. She was fine after that. So when I think of these examples of how the mind affects the body, how, even on a simple physiological level, how when our emotions are not well dealt with, when we're really just not being able to manage our anger or our fears or our pain, that a simple thing happens in the body that's very profound. The acid-alkaline balance changes to much more acidic. And when that happens, viruses grow prolifically, bacteria grows, the body gets much more acidic. Disease, it's an environment where disease thrives. So conversely, when we're able to reverse that whole emotional picture, when we're able to take down the impact of the anger, we don't necessarily lose the concept of what's going on, but we lose the charge. The body benefits from that in a big way, and I've seen that over and over again. And that's what I love about EFT, is that it's a wonderful tool for building wellness, because you're clearing a lot of things that are going to inhibit health, inhibit the flow of energy, inhibit the environment in the body that proliferates what we would like to avoid in terms of health challenges. So with EFT, we have what we call a discovery statement. So the discovery statement is the cause of all negative emotions, and I like to extend that to physiological imbalances, is a disruption in the body's energy system. Okay? So, folks, there are a few seats over here if anybody would like to sit down. Mm-hmm. Gary Craig calls this disruption a zzzt. Okay, kind of a short circuit. And this short circuiting that happens in the energy system is very subtle, and it can happen in a number of ways, predominantly trauma. Other ways can be physiological accidents, things like that. But these things, these energy short circuits, or zits as he calls them, generally are there forever, for a long time at least, until we do various kinds of things to remedy them. So in that whole picture, this is different from what's normally talked about in psychology. In psychology, generally it's thought of that the painful memory causes the negative emotion in the present. Okay? So that there's no step in between. Gary Craig's saying that this step in between is where we can really make the process of clearing this painful memory much more efficient. Things that sometimes take years can be taken care of in a few minutes. One of the more powerful examples of EFT is, if anyone here has seen the videos, they went into a VA hospital in California some years ago. And the people in the VA hospital were mostly Vietnam vets who had 25 years or so of severe PTSD, very frequent flashbacks, really debilitating kinds of things happening. Even after 25 years of therapy, they had one man that they worked with who, they asked him, well, how many flashbacks do you have a day? Well, I have 103. Every day, and all night. And this man hadn't had a good night's sleep since Vietnam. They worked with him for about an hour, and they addressed about 6 of his flashbacks. After that, he had a good night's sleep for the first time in years. They asked him the next day, well, how are your flashbacks today? Well, I didn't really have any. I remember the events, but it didn't affect me this time. So these are the kind of things that happen on a regular basis. They're not the exception to the rule, but this is generally what happens. With skilled EFT practitioners, you get a generally 80 to 85% success rate with anything that you deal with. So that's one of the lovely things. It's efficient, it's gentle. One of the things I've done for years is core energetics, which is kind of, it involves a lot of hitting pillows and crying and kind of emoting in a big way, which I found very beneficial. But I must say that I do prefer gentle, and EFT is gentle. In fact, it's very pointedly as gentle as possible. Whenever we reach a point of intensity, that's when we stop and we do our tapping. Okay? So, any questions so far? Yes? Let's get the microphone.
Simple. What is the?
Sorry?
What is the?
Yes, okay. It's a disruption in the energy system. Good question. So, in other words, a good example would be, I'm sure some of you have seen a dog who's been abused. And whenever you go to pet the dog kind of shies away. The dog's energy system has
So you're saying it's manifested physically, though?
yes, can be physical, could be emotional, could be both. And in fact, my belief is most cases it's both. Yes. I don't think I can answer that one. I'm not sure, but yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Another example I like to give is that one time I was working on my car and got the battery terminals reversed. And when you do that, your car's not going to run very well. So that's another example. So what I'd like to do is to teach you all the points, and the points are varied. They do change from practitioner to practitioner. These are the ones I particularly like. They also include Gary Craig's points. Can everybody see these okay? No? All right. Okay, I'm going to do my best to demonstrate them, and whoever can see them, I wish we had sort of a projector, but I didn't get that aspect of it together. I apologize for that. So, the first point we call the karate chop point. Okay? So it's the fleshy part of your hand. Generally, we're going to tap with 2 fingers. Okay? The system is very forgiving. If you want to tap with 1 finger or 4 fingers, no problem. Don't worry about getting it too exact, because when you're vibrating the meridian, even if you're close to it, you're going to get the right spot. Okay? It's basically impossible to make a mistake with EFT, which is another valuable part of it, I think. Okay, so good. Fleshy part of the hand, we call this the karate chop point. Okay? And our alternative to the karate chop point for the part of EFT called the setup is the sore spot. Okay? And the sore spot involves kind of rubbing around on the upper quadrant, either left or right. And by the way, EFT, you can tap the left side, you can tap the right side, you can tap both sides. Doesn't matter. Okay? So, the sore spot is as it sounds, it's sore. So if you rub around in there, you'll generally find something that's sore. Some people find it's on the crease between the arm and the torso. Some people find it's a little below the collarbone, but generally you'll find it. Okay, anybody not find it? Okay, just keep rubbing around. You'll find a spot that's sore. Sometimes it's not going to be extremely sore, especially if you're in really good health. It's a lymphatic congestion area. Okay? Okay? Yeah. It's actually, no, it doesn't. Mm-hmm. Okay? All right, so that's the sore spot. Hi. The next point is the beginning of what we call the sequence. And this point is, if you take the geographical center of the top of your head and go back about 1 inch, okay? That's what we call the top of the head point. Okay? All right. And next we go to the third eye. And by the way, the tapping should be to your comfort level. Doesn't have to be too hard, doesn't have to be too soft, whatever feels comfortable. Okay? All right. Next one is the inside eyebrow. So right at the inner edge of the eyebrow, and there are 3 eye points, and I usually like to do them on the ridge of the bone. Okay, so right on the orbital ridge. That's the inside eyebrow, the outer eye, and then 1 inch below the pupil. Okay?
Just like by the ridge of the nose? Is that what you mean?
The inside eyebrow is sort of on the ridge of the orbital bone around the eye. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Next one is halfway between the nose and the upper lip. Okay. Next one is sort of the crease of the chin area. So it's halfway between the lower lip and the bottom of the chin. Okay. Now the next ones are maybe a little bit trickier, but if you run your finger along the collarbone and where the knobby part of the collarbone articulates with the sternum, with the breastbone. Now, a good cue to know you're in the right place is when you tap on it, you get a nice thumpy sound. You probably hear that on my microphone. Okay? These are powerful points, collarbone. Okay? All right, next we go underneath the arm. And again, you could do left side, right side, both sides. You do it the funky chicken style. Okay. All right. We won't do these tonight. These are lovely points as well. These are liver points. But we'll kind of streamline things for tonight. Short presentation. Okay. Next, we're going to do what's called the gamut point. The gamut point is here. So it's on the back of the hand, in between the knuckle of the ring finger and the little finger, and between those 2 metacarpal bones there. You'll feel a little indentation. Okay? And we're going to tap continuously on this point called the gamut point and do some eye movements and some silly stuff like humming and counting. Okay? This particular sequence of points is designed to synchronize the left and right brain hemispheres. And it's been shown in various studies that when you synchronize the hemispheres, it's wonderful for pain issues as well as things like learning disabilities. Okay. All right, so those are the main points. There are other ones we can show you here on the fingernails. Generally, I don't do these. Gary Craig is really big into streamlining. So he says if you can do in a minute what you would normally take a minute and a half, why not do it if you still get the same result? So he generally does shortest possible amount and generally gets the same results. Okay? All right, so let's do a little EFT experiment. What I'd like people to do, don't do it yet, just let me describe it first, is I'm going to ask people to take a very deep breath in and hold it for about 2 seconds and to gauge and see what percentage of your total lung capacity your breath is. So if it's 100 or 50 or 65, just kind of take the breath in, hold it, give it your best guess at what the number is, what the percentage is, and then we'll go from there. Okay? So ready? Everybody take a nice deep breath, deep as you possibly can. Hold it 2 seconds, gauge your percentage, and let it out. Okay. All right, so anyone here feel like their breath was 100%? Okay. Generally, that's the case. Anybody feel like they were 95? Okay, about 95. Okay. All right, so most people were lower than 95. So let's do a little EFT. And what we'll do is we'll do what we call the setup phrase. Setup phrase is designed to do two things: to put the issue in the energy system in a very specific way. The more global we are, the less effective EFT is. So we want to be very specific on what we put as our phrasing. So in this case, we're going to use the phrase, even though I have this breathing limitation, I deeply and completely accept myself. So we're going to say this, I'll say it, you repeat it after me, we'll do it 3 times, and then we'll tap through the points, and then we'll see if there's any change, okay? So everybody tap your karate chop point, please. And we'll say, even though I have this breathing limitation, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this breathing limitation, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this breathing limitation, I love and accept myself completely. Okay, and we'll tap the top of the head now. Breathing limitation. And the third eye point, breathing limitation. Okay, and the inside eyebrow, breathing limitation. Okay, and now the outer eye, breathing limitation. Good. Underneath the eye, breathing limitation. And under the nose, breathing limitation. We're tapping about 7 times, give or take. Chin point, breathing limitation. Good. And the collarbones, breathing limitation. Good. And underneath the arms, breathing limitation. And now we're going to tap the back of the hand continuously, and I'll ask everyone to keep your head facing straight forward, please. And now close your eyes, and then open the eyes. And now bring your eyes diagonally down as far as you can to the right, keeping the head straight. And now bring your eyes diagonally down as far as you can to the left. And now roll your eyes in a big circle in one direction. And then roll your eyes in a big circle the other direction. And now we're going to hum for 2 seconds. And we're going to count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And humming again. Okay, and let's go to the top of the head again. Releasing breathing limitation. Breathing, opening. Breathing free and easy. Opening my breathing limitation. Opening my lungs. Lungs feeling open and wonderful. Freeing this breathing limitation. Letting go of this breathing limitation. I don't need this breathing limitation anymore. Okay, everybody relax. Close your eyes for a second. And when you're ready, take a nice deep breath, as deep as you can go again, and just see if there's any change there. Okay. Okay. So, anybody not have a change? Okay. Mm-hmm. A little shallower. This happens sometimes. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. So, what did people notice in terms of improvement? Anybody want to say where they started and where they got to? Yes.
I guess about say 70 to 85%.
70 to 85.
Yeah.
Great. Mm-hmm.
I'm shallow.
Let's say 80 to 100.
80 to 100. Wonderful. Okay. Anybody else? 60 to 85. Great. Great. Okay. Anybody else?
Well, I'm sitting in this chair that's not extremely comfortable, but when I finish, I could have just laid down on the floor.
This is one of the side effects of EFT is that people generally get very relaxed. And one of the things I tell my clients is that if you're just in a tense moment of any kind, tap some points, because anything you do, tapping the energy system is going to help to balance it. Even if you don't have any kind of a phrasing or word connection, just do it. It can't hurt and it can help, sometimes amazingly so. Okay, yes?
Is there such a thing as overtapping?
I haven't heard of any. Have you? Because I know you've been doing it a long time. No. The question was, is there anything, such a thing as overtapping? I've never heard of any overtapping. Leslie, yes?
I've tapped so hard that my elbows started hurting. Not hard, like banging myself, but just running through it over and over again. And it's like, oh, my poor elbows.
Okay. Leslie said her elbows got sore from tapping continuously, being very persistent. But generally, I find even with that, it's worth it.
That's extreme case.
Yes. I actually did remember I had one client who said he tapped his eye too much and too hard. So, again, the key is comfort level. Find your comfort level. So that's important. Okay. So let's do another round, because most of you haven't gotten to 100% yet. Yes? Question?
Oh, I was just curious, would it be that because my mind is too strong that it didn't work?
Generally not.
Okay.
The question is, would it be because your mind is too strong that it didn't work?
Acupuncture, so I'm thinking of other things about points.
Okay. Well, what I find, two things that can be very, very instrumental in inhibiting the EFT. First one is drinking water. If you haven't drank enough water, you might want to take a little bit now and see if that makes a difference, because frequently it does. Dehydration is a big inhibitor of EFT. The other one is eating too much sugar. So especially if you're going to be doing it on yourself, drink water and don't do too many sweets. Okay, so that's important. But it's a good question. Thank you. Okay, so with EFT again, yes.
Artificial sweeteners included in that?
Yes, artificial sweeteners are included. Yes. In fact, I would say they would probably be more inhibitive because of the artificial component.
You can tap away the desire for that too.
Yes. Yeah, what Leslie said, you can tap away the desire for these things. One of the things I've done in some of my workshops is to bring in a bag of Hershey's Kisses for people who have strong chocolate cravings, and it's pretty amazing what happens with people's cravings. There was another question somewhere? Okay. All right. So, again, we need to be very specific, and since basically almost everyone has made a gain the first time, and we're using this computer here, which is very literal, we're going to do a slightly different phrase. And this time we'll tap and we'll say, even though I have this remaining breathing limitation, I deeply and completely accept myself. Which just reminded me of another factor is the more emphatically you say things, the better it works. Even though I have this remaining breathing limitation, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this remaining breathing limitation, I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay. Top of the head point, remaining breathing limitation. And the third eye, remaining breathing limitation. And the inside eyebrows, remaining breathing limitation. Okay, and the outer eye, remaining breathing limitation. Underneath the eye, remaining breathing limitation. Under the nose, remaining breathing limitation. And the chin point, remaining breathing limitation. Collarbones, remaining breathing limitation. And let's do under the ribs this time, remaining breathing limitation. And under the arms, remaining breathing limitation. Okay, and we'll tap the gamut point again on the back of the hand continuously, keeping the head straight, and close the eyes, and open, and bring the eyes hard down to the right, and then hard down to the left, and circle the eyes, big circle in one direction, and big circle in the other direction, and humming, And we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and humming. Okay. And releasing remaining breathing limitations. Breathing open and free. Lungs feeling great. Lung tissue pink and beautiful. Air flowing freely through the lungs. Wonderful, relaxed lungs. Oxygen moving beautifully through the body. Loving and accepting myself. Loving and accepting myself completely. Okay. And now close the eyes again. Relax. And when you're ready, just take a nice breath in again, deep as you can, and gauge your percentage. Okay. This is called the gamut point. Okay. So, would you like to share what you're...
I keep yawning. It seems that I'm releasing a lot of tension.
Releasing a lot of tension with the breathing. Yes. Yes. And yawning. Yes, this happens a lot. And what would you say your percentage is now? 95. Wonderful. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody not have a gain this time?
I had a gain, I wouldn't say 95, 100, my body wanted to do that deep breath twice. It wouldn't hear, but it had
Yes.
to do it. I think I'm right at that.
Yes. Yeah. She said her body wanted to do the deep breath twice. And this is frequently something that happens with EFT, is like when we get the energy system balanced out, the body just wants to, to let down and do whatever feels good. And frequently one of the things that happens is we will move into solution mode. We will somehow start thinking about, oh, I could be doing this, or I could be doing that, or changing this part of my life, or avoiding this thing that I've been doing that's not helping me. Okay? Anybody else? Changes? Okay. All right. But everybody had a gain that time. Did you get any change that time? Yeah.
I got an underlying insight about why I was still tight.
Wonderful. Okay. She had an underlying insight about why the breathing was tight, right? Okay. All right. So, any questions so far as we're moving through?
Is this all written down, or do we have to get a book?
Good question. One of the things that Gary Craig provides is a wonderful gift. He has the EFT manual available online for free. It's 80 pages, okay? Again, this is some of the energy that I love about EFT, that he makes these manuals available for free. So, yes?
Did you initially give the internet?
The internet address is actually on flyers. I have flyers over there for, I'm going to be doing a level 1 EFT training on Sunday in Ashland, if anyone's interested. But feel free to copy the information. It's on the bottom of the flyer there. Okay. Yes, it is, yeah. Yes.
Well, you didn't mention his weekly EFT weekly report.
Weekly report.
On the internet.
Oh, yes, the newsletter, yes. Thank you. The EFT newsletter is wonderful, and you can subscribe to that for free. And the website has literally thousands of articles on EFT addressing, just every possible issue you can think of. Yes?
And what I found really remarkable from him is that you can buy the DVDs for $45.
Yes.
You are allowed to make 100 copies.
Yes.
And
Yes.
distribute all the copies and, as as long as you don't say anything.
Yes. The EFT videos, which I highly recommend, they're quite wonderful, are in sets of DVDs that come to 12 to 14 hours. And if you buy one set, it's $60, and if you buy more than one set, it's discounted from 35 to 50%. So not only is it a great value if you're drawn to EFT, but you can make 100 copies as long as you're not selling them to give out. The EFT organization encourages you to get the energy out there. So he says, you know, make copies if you would like, as long as you're not selling them. Okay? Yeah. Yes?
Does this hold?
Good question, yes. More often than not, yes. More often than not, it's a done deal. And this is where people kind of get thrown by it. You know, they've had this condition for years and years. I had a client who was experiencing depression for about 9 months. She said that she would get up in the morning and have a feeling of dread every day for 9 months. And I was actually teaching a different class, and I said, I can't teach this to you right now, but during the lunch break, if you like, we can do a few minutes and see if it helps. And we did probably 10 minutes worth. And basically that was it. I spoke to her 3 weeks later. I said, any recurrence? Nope. Gone. And more often than not, that's the case. You're able to, when you get the energy system balanced and you take out the short circuit, it's pretty amazing what can happen. Yes?
Do you have to know what the underlying reason is, say long-term depression? Somebody may not know, I may not know what it is. Do you have to identify what the source is?
Good question. Good question. The question is, do you need to know the underlying reason for the depression? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It depends. We have what we call aspects in EFT. So in other words, if a person got really good results and then it came back some days or some weeks later, we might have some other part of the picture that we need to deal with. So in other words, say the person was depressed about their family situation and they got relief. They were down to 0 when we do our gauging. And then some weeks later, something came back. We would do some detective work to see, okay, well, is there something else that's in the equation here? Is it, something to do with physical health or sadness about losing a loved one, or any number of things? And this is where I sit. I find the absolute best way to do it is to stop thinking and to invite divine consciousness in to take over the process. The more I can get my puny brain out of the way, the better this works. I can guarantee you that. And people ask me, well, how do you do that? And the way I find most effective is to just picture divine consciousness is with us all the time. And if we take the split second to invite it in, it's there. So it's available 24/7. And I find once I do that, everything gets very easy. All the information comes through in a very lovely way. So that's, yes.
How about for addictions?
Yes. EFT, if you go onto the website, the question is, how about for addictions with EFT? Very, very effective with many, many cases of addictions, including some severe ones. The website will have literally thousands of articles, and the nice part is that the articles are generally written by practitioners who will give their phrasings, what they have coming through in terms of how to best help this person. Okay? Addictions, because they are generally rooted very deeply in the emotions, might take some time. Might take a lot of exploration to see, where the tenacious roots might be, but they're generally very dealable by EFT. Yes.
So how if someone has an issue going on, what's the way that you do the phrasing?
Yeah. Generally, what I try to do is to start with a very, very specific part of what's going on. So, could you give me an example of what you would think of as an issue?
Okay, I have a habit.
Mm-hmm.
I pick my fingernails.
Okay.
So, addiction or whatever.
Okay.
And there's some, I'm sure there's some emotional thing in it. So
Okay.
how would you phrase something like that?
Okay. So, for those of you who couldn't hear, what was your name?
Kaya.
Kaya. Kaya said she had a habit of picking her fingernails, and how would I phrase that? So, essentially, I would try to be very specific, and since what you're giving me is quite specific, even though I have this habit of picking my fingernails, I love and accept myself completely. But the question is, in this particular case, because you may not be feeling the addiction in the moment, we might deal with one of the emotions around it first. Okay, these are some of the nuances of EFT that the more you practice, the more you'll pick up. So it might be, in this case, craving. So I would ask if Kaya was sitting with me in a session, how is your craving for this habit right now on a 10 scale? 10 is the worst, 0 is the lowest. Like, would you like to do a little bit with this right now? Sure. Okay. So if you were to tune in on the pull toward doing that, toward craving or however you want to call it, on a 10 scale with 10 being the worst, 0 the lowest, what would it be?
1.
Just about a 1 now. Okay. So basically, we don't have a lot of ground to cover there, but if you were up around an 8, we would go right into it and say, even though I have this craving to pick my fingernails, I love and accept myself.
So it's ideal to do it when the emotion is strong.
Yes, yes. So essentially, we're dealing with what's happening in the moment. Okay. Again, that's an important piece. Yes.
I'd like to address a more difficult one.
Okay.
What if a person has been frightened
Mm-hmm.
by the medical people
Uh-huh.
into thinking something that's very wrong?
Uh-huh.
How would
Okay.
you deal with it?
Okay. I would basically first talk to the person about the fear, have them share their story a little bit. I think that's an important piece of EFT, is really being with the person and connecting with them and sitting in their seat, if you could. So I would ask them, well, how is this affecting you? What was said? So if they said, say for instance, they had a prognosis of not long to live, I would work with, even though I'm really terrified of this prognosis about my lifespan, I love and accept myself completely. Of course, we would gauge and see what that fear level was, and generally each round you're going to be able to incrementally take that fear level down. And then what we do is we try to get an acid test to have the person imagine themselves in the scenario, imagine themselves being afraid. And Gary Craig says, try to get yourself worked up about this, okay? And if they're neutralized, then that's great. If something else comes up, then we would do some more tapping on it. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yes.
Is anyone here who's received such a diagnosis? This is an EFT, but imagine you've heard of Irv Katz, a hypnotherapist. I don't know, he's pretty famous and hot.
Uh-huh.
All over, somewhere from Maui. He brought a woman from requiring complete mastectomies on both sides on Wednesday to having no cancer at all.
Yes, I totally believe these things, yes.
Yeah, don't even take 5 days to live as a final.
Striking example, yes. Thank you.
Just
Yes.
at the valve.
Yes.
You'll feel a lot.
Yes.
So, what the lady is saying, does it answer my question, would I be able to apply EFT to an injured knee?
Yes. The question is, would I be able to apply EFT to an injured knee? Absolutely. And we could do a little bit with that right now if you'd like.
Okay.
Okay. How's our time? We have 5 minutes. Okay. I'll tell you what, let's do it after the break so we have enough time to work with that. But yes, knees are one of those frequent injuries that EFT has generally been very helpful with. I do it on my own knees sometimes because I get a little tight when I run. Okay. Any other questions? Yes?
Well, speaking of physical injuries, does it help cure, actual injuries rather than, some injuries are considered psychosomatic, others
Yes.
are considered, torn ligaments and
Mechanical, yes.
mechanical injuries.
Yes, good question. The rule of thumb with EFT is we try it on anything. I listed some of the testimonials on the second page of the flyer back there of different folks who have come in with all kinds of things, from sinus congestion to fear of participating in class for a college student, to fear of flying, to neck pain that's been there for 15 years. So yes, we try it on anything. And generally, what my take on the whole aspect of, yeah, you've got a torn ligament. When the energy system is corrected, it can still take pain levels down, which generally, in most settings, most practitioners are going to say, well, there's not really anything we can do with this. EFT frequently works where nothing else does. That's the kind of mind-blowing part of it that I just love about it. Yes. Yes.
Is it possible for EFT to do it intentionally, called surrogate EFT?
Yes. Yes. The question is, can EFT be done long distance in a surrogate manner? Yes, we have done that and done it successfully. One of my favorite stories with this is my wife Nell and I were in a class back in New York, and one of the persons in the workshop, the teacher's best friend's dog, had a leg amputation at 3 years old. This was a very healthy Doberman, had to have a leg amputated and was very depressed for months, was not eating for something like 2 months without being kind of force-fed. And we had 50 people in the class, and everyone tapped on Chelsea, the dog's appetite. I, Chelsea, am releasing my sadness around my leg, losing my leg, etc., going through. And next day, the owner came in and said, Chelsea ate the first time in 2 months. And we went again 6 months later to the next training. The dog had eaten every single day from that point on. So, don't hesitate to do it on your pets. And these are the 2 tapping points for the pet. Center of the chest and the top of the head. And you do the phrasing for them. Okay? And I've had some other good examples with that. Yes, let's take one last question, and then we'll take a break, okay? Leslie?
Yeah, I was at a meeting with somebody that I kind of friends with who stutters. And while he's talking, I just kind of got this idea to do an experiment. I start sort of just, tapping, and no one knows what I'm doing, and his stuttering stopped. This was amazing. Well, then I asked a friend of mine who's an EFT expert, and she said, you really shouldn't do surrogate stuff for adults unless you have their permission.
Okay.
It's just about respect,
Well, this frequently comes up, this question. And my take on it is, if you feel that's invasive, then don't do it. However, I feel that it's like saying a prayer for someone. It's not going to do any harm. That's my take on it. But be with what your own truth is on it. So we'll take a few-minute break, and I thank you all for being here, and we'll take lots of questions, and we'll do some practicing. If people have issues they want to try some EFT on, I'd be happy to do that. Okay. Okay. Couple of quick announcements before we get started. There's a sign-up sheet now if anyone would like to put your email address or snail mail address or whatever on there. Be glad to let you know of any EFT events. I am going to be starting some EFT groups, hour and a half, something like that, groups in Ashland and Medford. So
So what is, would you
Well, the groups will be most likely for specific issues. Like we may have a group for past traumas, soothing past traumas, things like that, for anxiety issues, for pain issues. So these are some of the ones that I've been thinking about, and I'm open to suggestion if anyone has anything specific that they think would be a valuable EFT group. Okay? I assume my mic's on? Okay, great. Thanks.
I did a workshop with him about a month ago, and it was incredibly powerful. Life-changing, seriously. Helped me get through a very difficult personal situation, and I highly, truly recommend it.
Thank you, Sunan. Appreciate it. Okay, so we're going to do a little work now with, tell me your name, please.
I'm Lynn.
Lynn. Lynn has a knee problem that she'd like to do a little EFT with. So, Lynn, you can make yourself comfortable there. So, Lynn, can you tell me a little bit about what's happened with your knee and how long it's been going on for? And
Injured the microphone.
there we go.
I injured my knee the first time 3 years ago, and it was just simply like falling off the edge of a sidewalk, and that kind of injury. And it pretty much went away, but it flares up. And this time it's flared up, so that was 3 years ago. It might flare up 1 or 2 times a year, and I just sort of don't pay too much attention to it, and it goes away. This time it doesn't seem to be going away, and I'm not able to walk it off. I rest it, I do different kinds of things, and I'm not really inclined to go to the doctor and be given a medicine or be told to not walk or to put heat or cold on it. It seems as though common sense tells me if I do some of the right things, it should get better.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, so that's where I am.
Thank you. All right. And Lynn, a couple of questions. Is your knee painful resting?
No.
Okay, only upon movement?
Right.
Okay. And when you just walked across here, what would you say your level of pain would be on a 10 scale, with 10 being the worst and 0 the lowest?
3.
About a 3. Not too bad right now.
Right.
Okay. And this
It's
is the...
fine right now, sitting.
Sitting, it's fine.
Perfectly fine.
Okay. All right. And so does it get more painful if you walk further?
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And this is the right knee only?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's tap the karate chop point. And are you comfortable with your hat off or no?
I can take my hat off.
If you're comfortable.
For my eyes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just like to be able to see you a little better.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll tap the karate chop point and we'll say, even though I have this right knee pain upon movement, and you say that.
Even though I have this right knee pain upon movement,
I love and accept myself completely.
I love and accept myself completely.
Even though I have this right knee pain upon movement,
Even though I have this right knee pain upon movement,
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Mm-hmm. And the more emphatic you say it, the better. Even though I have this right knee pain upon movement,
Even though I have this right knee pain upon movement,
great, I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Okay, and now we're going to tap the top of the head, Lynn. Right knee pain upon movement.
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 Okay, now third eye.
Right knee pain upon movement.
Good.
Right knee pain upon movement.
Okay, now the inside eyebrow. You can have your eyes open and watch me if you want.
Can I keep it closed?
If that's better, sure. Mm-hmm. Okay, and now the outer eye. Right knee pain upon movement.
Right knee pain upon movement.
Okay. Okay, underneath the eye. Right knee pain upon movement. And underneath the nose. Right knee pain upon movement. And the chin point. Right knee pain upon movement. And collarbone, right knee pain upon movement. Okay, and under the arms, right knee pain upon movement. Okay, and Lynn, tap that point on the back of your hand, please. Right there, yep. Right knee pain upon movement. Okay, and now your eyes are already closed. You can do these movements with your eyes closed, okay? Bring your eyes diagonally down to the right, diagonally down to the left, and then circle your eyes, big circle in one direction, a big circle the other direction, and humming, counting to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, humming again, okay, and now let's tap the top of the head again, releasing right knee pain,
Releasing right knee pain.
and the third eye point.
Okay,
and the inside eyebrow, loving my right knee.
loving my right knee, loving my right knee.
Okay, and the outer eye, it's a great right knee.
It's a great right knee.
Okay, underneath the eye.
It's a healthy right knee.
Good.
Healthy right knee.
Okay.
Healthy right knee.
Okay, under the nose.
It likes to want my right knee. It likes to want my right knee. Yeah.
Okay,
Like
good. Chin point.
healthy, healthy knee, healthy knee.
Great.
Oh, God.
Excellent.
Oh,
Okay, collarbone. Loving my right knee.
loving my right knee.
Okay, and under the arms. Energy moving beautifully through my right knee. Okay. And now just relax. Close your eyes. Nice deep breath. And Lynn, when you're ready, without hurting yourself, just take a little stroll and see if there's any change there.
Wish me luck.
Good luck.
I think it feels better.
Good.
See, I'm living because I'm favoring it. We do that. Because the knee starts to make the hip hurt. But I think it feels better.
Good. If you were to give it your best guess at a number, you started at 3, what would it be?
Well, it's gone down. You know how when you have a knee like that, it and you favor it,
Yes.
at times it would make my hip hurt, and I knew I was doing that. But it feels considerably better than when I walked over. My mind is freer. My mind is liking my health better right now. That's good. Yeah, so thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm going to do this on myself. Yeah.
Okay. This is wonderful. I just want to acknowledge Lynn for picking up the energy. Did you notice how she was putting her own phrasing in? That's wonderful. If you get someone who's working with you and they start doing that, it's beautiful. Go with it. You know, if it needs a little tweaking of the phrasing, you do that as well. But that's very powerful. So you know.
I think the phrasing like we read in The Secret is a good way to do it. Like if I send it out, it's gonna be okay when it comes back. Bounces off me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Glad I'm here.
Okay. Me too. Me too. Okay. Anybody else like to do a little EFT? Any issues you'd like to work with? Yes. Sure. Great. What's your name?
Deborah.
Deborah, hi. Have a seat. And Deborah, why don't you say a little bit about what you'd like to work with?
I dislocated my fibula, which is the bone here.
Ouch.
And yeah, it's just a strange injury. And it's been 4 months, and it hasn't resolved. So now my calf muscles, my gastrocnemius and soleus are really
Spazzed.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I feel the pain, just sitting.
Okay. All right. Okay, thanks. So, could everyone hear? We're dealing with spasmed calf muscles, soleus, gastrocnemius. Okay. And
I think your mic went on.
my mic went off? Okay. I'm sorry, I forgot your name already. Deborah, okay. Deborah, in the sitting position now, on a 10 scale, what would you say the muscle pain is? And is the muscle pain the predominant discomfort right now? Okay.
I'd say about 5.
About a 5. Okay. All right. And do you distinguish the two muscles, or you just kind of clump it as a?
I can distinguish them, but I'll say right here, this is the one.
Okay. All right. So.
I'll just say gastric.
Okay.
For calf muscles, that's easy.
Okay, calf muscles. Okay. All right. Good. So let's tap the karate chop point. And I also want to mention that it was lovely that everyone was tapping along before, and feel free to do that. And you can also bring focus to your own issue that you want to be working with, even though you might be tapping along. Okay? So here we go. So Deborah's issue is, even though I have this pain in my calf muscles, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this pain in my calf muscles, I love and accept myself completely. Even though I have this pain in my calf muscles, I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay, and we'll go to the top of the head, Deborah. Pain in calf muscles. 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 Good. Pain in calf muscles. And the collarbones. Pain in calf muscles. And underneath the arms. Pain in calf muscles. Okay. And now we'll tap the back of the hand. And Deborah, close your eyes and open. Bring your eyes diagonally down to the right. Keeping the head straight, diagonally down to the left. And a big circle in one direction. Big circle the other direction. And we're going to hum 2 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Humming again. Okay. Top of the head. Releasing this calf pain. Calf muscles relaxing. Okay, third eye. Calf muscles relaxing. Okay. Energy moving through my calves beautifully. Okay. Any energy disruption being cleared. Loving my calf muscles. Pain relieved. Muscles relaxed and happy. Okay, releasing this pain. Okay, releasing this pain. Okay. All right, just relax. Close your eyes for a second. Nice deep breath. And when you're ready, just see if there's any change there. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Okay. Now, this is a little fine point here, Deborah, but we were scaling it when you're resting. So to walking is, yeah, so just
I would say it's just what they say before 5,
Mhm.
maybe 4.
About a 4.
Yeah, not too much.
Okay. All right.
I feel more relaxed.
Mm-hmm. Good. Okay. And, you know, the specificity is going to be important. So, in other words, if we had started with, even though I have this calf pain upon movement, it would be different. And then we would, you know, see if there was a change there. However, you still can have a spillover. Sometimes you work with the pain in the resting position and the movement feels better automatically. So these things happen, and it's kind of a nice little fringe benefit as well.
It would be more powerful if I said like the specific, gastrocnemius or the soleus. Does that matter?
It could. We could. Why don't we do a little bit more, Deborah, if you're okay with it? Yeah. And I just have a suspicion that if you have you drink a few sips of water, that might be helpful too. You okay with that? There we go. So again, the next round, since we have had a gain, we'll use the phrase, even though I have this remaining calf pain, okay? I think we should just stay with calf pain for now, okay? All right, and this time let's do the sore spot. This is our option to the karate chop point, okay? And sometimes if you're not getting dramatic gains, using the sore spot is a more powerful point for some people, okay? All right, so even though I have this remaining calf pain, I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay, really emphatic. Even though I have this remaining calf pain. Good. I deeply and completely accept myself. Good. Even though I have this remaining calf pain, I deeply love and accept myself. Okay. And now let's start at the top of the head. Remaining calf pain. Remaining calf pain. Good. Inside eyebrows. Remaining calf pain. And the outside eye. Remaining calf pain. Underneath the eye. Remaining calf pain. Under the nose. Remaining calf pain. And chin point. Remaining calf pain. Collarbones. Remaining calf pain. And under the arms. Remaining calf pain. And now let's tap the back of the hand and close the eyes and open. Diagonally down to the right with the eyes. Diagonally down to the left. Big circle one way. Big circle the other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And top of the head again. Releasing this nasty calf pain.
Releasing this insidious calf pain.
Third eye. I'm sick of it.
I am sick of this calf pain.
Inside eyebrow. I'm ready to be without it.
I'm ready to be without this pain.
Outer eye. See that pain walking down the road. Okay. Under the eye. Releasing this calf pain completely. Okay. Under the nose, beautiful energy moving all through my leg. Okay. Yes. Loving my calf muscles. They're wonderful supports. Okay. Okay, there. Nice deep breath. Okay. Better? Okay. So best guess at a number. About a 2. Great. Wonderful. Great. Okay. So, as we go through the evening and some other people might be working on some issues, you continue tapping on that.
Okay.
Sometimes you get a little delayed reaction as well. Okay. Great. Yes.
What happens when you deal with an issue you cannot evaluate the benefit right now?
Sometimes there is a delayed reaction. Yes. Yeah. And, you do the best you can in those moments to just tell the person, well, maybe you'll find some benefit later. And in most cases, that's going to happen. It's very rare that you don't get some gain with EFT. That's the amazing thing. I had someone recently that we worked steadily for an hour and just got a tiny bit of progress. But that was the exception rather than the rule. Most people do get results rather rapidly. Yes?
I substituted the discomfort of my own
Uh-huh.
gums.
Yes.
instead of her pain.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And it actually relieved it.
Great. Okay. So your name, please? Dwayne. What Dwayne just mentioned is another aspect of EFT called borrowing benefits. And when you read the manual, you'll read something about borrowing benefits, and it's a lovely kind of spillover. To me, it's sort of one of the outpicturings of the fact that we really are all one. There is no real separation. And when we really kind of allow that possibility, Gary Craig has found that when people tap on other people's issues, and the person who's in the hot seat up front, he's tested and he still finds an 80 to 85% benefit rate for the people who are tapping on their own issues, but saying the words for whoever's up front. Okay. Now, another little piece here that just in terms of, well, what do you do if things aren't moving along? So say if Deborah were up here and we weren't getting any gains after a certain amount of time, I might check and see if there was some emotion connected. You know, maybe there was an accident that happened that precipitated the dislocation or the muscle spasms, and we would tap on that. Like when Lynn was up here and she was saying that her knee was hurting, and then certain times it would go into her hip, we would generally address both as a separate issue. We call those aspects. Okay, so frequently something that happens with EFT is called chasing the pain. And frequently when you resolve one issue, like I had a client in with shoulder pain, and the shoulder pain resolved and it moved over to here, and then we got that taken care of and it moved down here, and then it went into the knee. And this happens because energy is moving. So when that happens, you know you're getting something good going on. It may not be exactly what you want in any given moment, but when you can get the pain moving around, you know that there's something good happening because energy is opening up. And it's just moving to the next place that has a disruption in the energy system. So, yes, Deborah.
Do you have a way to find what the core belief is, or the core emotion?
The question is, do you have a way of finding what the core belief or the core emotion is? Generally, this is where I try to get my mind out of the way and ask for guidance to tune in on what that is. And when I do that, it usually gets very easy. And, you know, it's just sort of, I don't know, it's sort of when you tap in on that level, the information just is there. I don't know how else to describe it. It becomes simple. Yeah. Yes?
Question. Why aren't you using these points?
It's a good question, Dwayne. If I get stuck and we're not getting gains, I'll try using some of the points, but I try to streamline as much as possible. You know, like Gary Craig says, if you can do a round in a minute instead of a minute and a half, you're saving everybody time. If you're going to get the same result, why not? But these points are great. One of the things my teacher likes to do is tap all the fingers together like this. Okay. Yes, you had a question.
Is it more effective to speak out loud?
Good question. Is it more effective to speak it out loud than not? I like speaking it out loud. Somehow the energy of the voice seems to be a really good thing, but I find it works fine without it. You know, I'll be driving in my car and tapping my karate chop point on the steering wheel and looking strange to all the other drivers around, tapping myself. But you can do it to yourself. Sometimes if I'm lying awake at night and not sleeping well, one of the phrases that one of the practitioners came up with, which I think is lovely, is even though I'm not sleepy right now, I choose to be pleasantly drowsy. You know? And just saying that to yourself and picturing yourself tapping the points. Okay? And I've had really good results with that. Yeah. Okay. So anybody else like to try something? Yes?
I just have one question.
Sure.
So the first round is really releasing, and then after that you're putting in I'm thinking about the hypnotherapy type thing where you're
Uh-huh.
releasing it and then you're putting in affirmations.
Well, this is kind of what I've evolved for myself. Generally, the kind of by the book EFT method is going to be a bit different. They're going to stick with, knee pain, knee pain, knee pain, knee pain, go through the eye movements, knee pain, knee pain, knee pain, and they don't do the release phrasing. But I just like doing it that way. And again, don't be afraid to improvise. It's really a very Gary Craig actually invites individual practitioner nuances because it's a technique that is in progress, basically. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
It seemed as if though the second time through, saying the new way that your body is releasing it, feeling better, that the energy is flowing, whatever. Is that what you're saying? That sometimes some practitioners would just emphasize the pain and you go through that several times?
Yes, correct.
Then how does the body know that there's something other than that?
Well, it's saying that even though I have this condition, I love and accept myself.
That's the main.
Yeah, and that.
Is the love and completely accept yourself.
Right. And that phrase alone, for a lot of people, opens up the energy system big time. A lot of people are in tears just from saying, I love myself, I accept myself. And when that's the case, generally there are ways of really kind of using that energy to help the person to get, because everything is right there for you to work with. So that's a good thing. Yeah. So, anybody else like to work with something? Yeah, Jeannie.
Have you had this experience of easier EFT by continuing tapping with the hands like this? It comes from an Australian.
Okay. I wonder if that's Steve Wells.
Steve Wells,
yeah. I've heard of it. I haven't tried it myself, but I would say, again, if you're getting good results with it, why not? There are a lot of other points that other practitioners bring in. And as most people know, there are acupuncture points all over the body. These were just the ones that Gary found were most effective. So don't be afraid to try different points. And I have a bunch of other ones that I use. I don't show them the first couple of trainings, but after that we show you some different ones that are good with having as options to the standardized points. Okay. Yeah. Sorry?
Secret points.
Secret points, yes. Right. Okay. So anybody else like to have a little tapping experience for something? Yes? Come on up. Okay. And your name?
I'm Kathy Mary.
Kathy, hi. Kathy Mary is
Kathy Mary, yeah.
first names. Okay. All right. And Kathy Mary, you want to say what you're experiencing?
Yes, I have a sound in my ears, and I do not believe it's what is called tinnitus.
Okay.
It won't be there for a while, and then it will just come on, and it did happen during that last session. And so I jumped in and did it for that session.
Okay.
It didn't go down at all. I think something you said after that is knowing something about the root or the source of it would be helpful.
That's
and
what I just heard.
Divine guidance. And I would really love to get some divine guidance on that and then work with it.
Okay. It's interesting because that's what I was hearing when you came up. I'm just going to get a sip of water here. Okay. So, Kathy Mary, can you say a little bit about the first time you experienced this?
Yes. It was very... came on all of a sudden. I was in a very powerful meditation with a group at Lawrence Katz's house, a thing called Stillness. We were all meditating in a circle, and many, many crystals were all around. And during that meditation, the sound came up. And that was December a year and a half ago. And it's been, sometimes it goes down a little bit, sometimes it's gone for a little while. It can be almost, it can be very debilitating at times. I can't even hear things around me. I have suspicions as to what it is, and and I don't know if I should say those out loud.
Would you like to?
Because it's weird. Yeah, I think it's, I became like a receptor for some sort of off-planet tone. Or it's like a high-pitched tone, and I've had many people speculate on what it is.
It's high-pitched?
Yeah. It's the only best way I can describe it is I'm from Texas, and it's like in the summertime when you sleep with the windows open and you hear the crickets all night long.
Okay. All right. And what would the level of it be right now?
It's pretty high. It's not a. It's about 7 or 8.
7 or 8. Yeah. Okay. All right.
It came on, so I would get to work on it.
Yeah, could be. Okay. Well, I suspect that, and I'm just getting that it might be valuable to stand up for this one. I'm not sure why, or you can sit on this bench if you'd like. Okay. Let's try just working with the sound first, and then see where it takes us. Okay. All right. So, even though I have this, would you call it debilitating sound?
No, just even though I have this sound in my ears is what I call it. Sound
Okay.
in my ears.
Even though I have this sound in my ears.
Even though I have this sound in my ears.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Great. Make it as enthusiastic as you can. Even though I have this sound in my ears.
Even though I have this sound in my ears.
I deeply and completely accept myself. Good. Even though I have this sound in my ears.
Even though I have the sound in my ears.
I love and accept myself completely.
I love and accept myself completely.
Okay. And tap at the top of the head. The sound in my ears.
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 Sound in my ears.
The sound in my ears.
The sound in my ears.
This high-pitched 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 sound in my ears.
High-pitched sound in my ears.
Okay. And back of the hand. And close your eyes. And open. Bring your eyes diagonally down right. Diagonally down left. Big circle one way. Big circle the other way. Humming. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And top of the head. Releasing this sound.
Releasing this sound.
Quiet in my ears.
Quiet silence in my ears.
Blissful silence.
Blissful silence.
I choose silence.
I choose silence.
I choose to release this sound.
I choose to release this sound.
It's been around too long already.
It's been around too long already.
I'm kicking it out the door.
Kick it out the door.
Don't need it.
Don't need it.
Let it go to some orchestra where it's needed.
I let it go.
Okay. All right. And just relax. Take a breath in. And see if there's any change there.
Went down in volume. It's definitely a volume thing.
It's a volume thing.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
the volume goes up and the volume goes down.
You started at 7 or 8, you said? And
it's down about 3.
About 3.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Great.
It
Great.
went down as we did it, the process.
Great.
Yeah.
Should we do another round?
We could. Is there time?
Yeah. Okay. 10 minutes. Okay. Great. So let's do. Even though I have this remaining sound in my ears,
Even though I have this remaining sound in my ears,
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Even though I have this remaining sound in my ears,
Even though I have this remaining sound in my ears, I deeply and completely accept myself.
good. One more time.
Even
Even though I have this remaining sound in my ears, I love and accept myself completely.
I love and accept myself completely.
Okay. Top of the head. Remaining sound in my ears.
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 Remaining
Remaining sound in my ears. 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 Good. This remaining sound. This diminishing sound. Okay. And close your eyes. And open. Eyes hard down right. Hard down left. Big circle one way. Big circle the other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Top of the head. Releasing this remaining sound. Turning the volume dial down. Okay. Blissful silence. I deserve silence in the temple of my ears. My wonderful ears. Ears working perfectly. Perfect balance in my hearing. Hearing working beautifully because I deserve it. Okay. Nice deep breath.
Stop, but it's down lower.
Best guess at a number?
Yeah, I guess maybe a 1.
About a 1. Great, great. You may find that over the next hour or so that it neutralizes completely, and I hope that's the case.
That'd be great. And I think
Great.
Working with it is very interesting because my hearing has been affected. Diminished hearing. And you spoke of hearing, which is interesting because I didn't say anything about my hearing.
Yeah, well, it certainly fits together, so thanks for coming up. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. How's our time, Robert? 5 minutes. Okay. If anybody has anything that we can address in a couple of minutes, we can do that, or we could just do some questions. Okay. Yes?
I just had
Rita?
a question about that, that last experience there. Actually, I've done meditation practices in the past where one, it was truly a reward. Yes.
Oops. I don't think it's going to make it. Okay. Could you sit over here? Okay.
I've participated in meditation practices in the past where it was truly a wonderful reward to experience sounds like that. Perhaps the real issue is being able to experience it only when she wants to, rather than, I don't know.
That's a possibility.
Right, it was, right. It just came, and I didn't know what to do with it.
Right. It's kind of invasive, huh?
Well, yeah, and almost, kind of like in between me and the rest of the world. But yes, I've been told that by a number of people that when people do meditation,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The right place and the right time for everything, huh? Okay. Any other last questions? Yes.
If you're going to work with an emotional issue, something that you feel is holding you back.
Okay.
If you're going to work with an emotional issue, something you feel that's part of family of origin, not the end of the world, but something that makes you feel frustrated and limited.
Yes.
How would you work with that kind of thing? So it's not a body thing.
Yeah, it would be pretty much in the moment. Again, we look for specificity, even though I feel pain about my relationship with my uncle, or even though I want to strangle my cousin, whatever it might be. We try to be very specific And that sometimes will lead us on a path to deal with some other issue. And as we know with family of origin, that can take us into different roads and
it's not, neighborhoods.
Neighborhoods,
well,
yes.
also the thing is, if I were to be with 10 other people who discussed something in their life they felt was traumatic, and this would seem somewhat minor, and yet it's not to me, because it's something I've allowed myself to believe, and now I wish to change that.
Yes.
Because it's, you heard this money thing for a long time, and so now you're going, well, I want to do this thing, and I know there's a way, but I can't find it, and I'm feeling really, there's anger, of course. Well, I should be able to figure this out.
Right.
Helplessness,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of emotion around it.
Sure. It's a good question. And basically, with EFT, you don't forget the issue. You don't forget the situation. However, the charge is, the idea is we want to neutralize the charge. And generally, it's quite effective with that. Yeah. Okay.
Just keep repeating that same thing.
Yes.
I have this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, one last one, Kaya. Nope, not that I know of. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people do. I mean, again, I think either way is fine, but if you feel like it could, then probably better not to do it. Yeah. Okay, so I'm very grateful for you all coming out tonight, and there is a sign-up sheet if you want to be on a list I'll send out, EFT events. I'll be starting some groups soon. There's a level 1 training this coming Sunday. The gathering place in Ashland is in the Tolman Creek area, which, if anyone calls to register, I'll give you all the specific details. And I think that's about it. I'm, once again, very happy to be here with you all. Thank you.
RVML Resource Center is a volunteer-operated federal 501c3 tax-exempt nonprofit organization. RVML is dedicated to providing easy access to a comprehensive collection of information on a variety of metaphysical, spiritual, and personal development subjects. RVML accepts and appreciates all donations. Material and monetary contributions are fully tax-deductible. This recording is not copyrighted, and permission is granted to broadcast, exhibit, or duplicate all or part of this program for non-commercial educational purposes. This live presentation was organized and presented by the Rogue Valley Metaphysical Library and Event Center. For more information, please visit rvml.org.